Good morning. It's Tuesday, October 21st, 2014. This is Tech Talk Today, episode 78, and my name is Chris.
Wow, this is new. My name is Angela.
I figure you're a powerful woman. You should introduce yourself.
I am dressed like one.
You are. You're a businesswoman today. You look like CEO material. It's pretty impressive. And here I am wearing just a jacket, like some sort of...
Oh, yeah, just a last shirt and a last jacket.
Yeah, it is actually pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I am totally swagged out today, aren't I?
Yeah.
That is awesome. Well, we got a big show. A lot's been going on. Sorry about missing yesterday, but Mondays, you know?
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
Yeah, we walked to the bus.
Yes.
That was cool.
Yep.
And new bus stop and all that. So that was good. We're getting ready for Ohio Linux Fest, and so we'll also be out next Monday. There won't be a show because we'll just be getting in from Ohio, and last is going to be in the afternoon, so we won't be able to do a Tech Talk next Monday. So for this week and next week, no Mondays. Tech Talk Today has a case of the Mondays. All right, so to get into the news, let's bring in our excellent and fully staffed Mumble panel. Time-appropriate greetings, Mumble Room.
Hey, good morning.
Wow.
Nice.
Okay, 906. Okay.
There's a lot of flavor in that.
That was like 9 people?
That was good.
Wow.
All right. Well, let's start with the news that seems like it's just following Angela around these days. Sources at multiple banks are confirming what appears to be a credit card breach at Staples.
Yeah, which go figure.
I know, right?
I bought from them like 3 times since school started for Dylan.
I know. I know, right? No kidding. No kidding. But a lot of people did. Yeah.
Yeah.
So according to more than a half a dozen sources at banks operating on the East Coast, it appears likely that fraudsters have succeeded in stealing customer card data from a subset of Staple locations, including 7 Staple locations in Pennsylvania, and at least 3 in New York City, and another in New Jersey. So far, Angela,
good.
All East Coast. Now, Staples has more than 1,800 stores nationwide, but so far the banks contacted by the reporter in this article, and I think that's Brian Krebs, have traced a pattern of fraudulent transactions. What?
Nothing.
Why? Why do you laugh?
Nothing.
Why? Why do you laugh?
Just because, Mr. Krabs and SpongeBob, and
geez,
then I
Ange.
remembered that they live in Bikini Bottom. Krabs
money.
and
I like money.
That's totally Mr. Krabs. Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Anyway.
Moving on. So far, it seems that it's only been used in a small number of Staples locations in the Northeast. But I think not only is this kind of just a big story in general, but the other reason why it's kind of a Tech Talk Today story is it looks like that it may have been malware installed at the terminal locations where there's potentially malware. This is not confirmed yet. We might know by the time TechSnap comes along. Malware is installed on like these XP Windows embedded servers, and it just reads the credit card numbers right out of the memory on the computer,
Wow.
and then sends them off to the internet.
That's awesome.
Just so as they swipe, it just reads it right from the memory.
Wow.
And so
Super easy.
That's what got Target, and
Yeah.
it looks like that's what got Home Depot, and now it looks like that's might have gotten Staples.
XP.
Yeah, right.
And people that write code for it.
I know. So there you go. I feel like we're getting these all the time now. What?
Well, that was easy.
Well, yeah, I know, right? Yes, very much. That was easy. And I guess this is going to be the new thing. Now, I think this is National Cybersecurity Awareness Month, so it kind of lands at a good time. I hope we can get to a different system, something that resolves, something that gets us past this. What?
Oh, I just want to acknowledge that I stole that comment from the chat room. I did not see the mum in front of it, so I just totally stole a Mumble Room comment. I'm sorry.
Okay. All right. So,
Sorry, pal.
any thoughts on the Staples story, or are we good to transition into our next story that's kind of related? Nope? Okay. All right, moving on. I thought that might just be a quick one, and just wanted to warn folks on the East Coast. So, as you probably heard, yesterday, Apple Pay launched as part of iOS 8.1, and the early reviews are in. They seem pretty positive. See how I just went from a credit card breach story to an Apple Pay?
Yep.
Yeah. See what I did there? So if this is how I thought this is kind of a funny way to put it. This is how Sharon Profs over at CNET put it. She said, if the iPhone 6 and iPhone 6 Plus do one thing exquisitely well, it's pay for stuff. So let's just spend your money. And they said, I've got a whole roundup of all the different reviews in the show notes if you guys are interested. A lot of different videos, like people going to McDonald's and buying chicken nuggets.
We just got iOS 8.1 installed on my iPhone 6.
So here's this is a guy for Yahoo News, or it's embedded, or this is I think from Boy Genius Report.
Order some McDonald's right now and pay with phone.
A lot of people did the McDonald's chicken nuggets thing. They go to McDonald's, you order the chicken nuggets, you touch your phone to the thing, you bought the chicken nuggets. No credit card exchanged. Everybody has a video out right now, from Yahoo to TechCrunch to all of them.
I've done that with my Google Wallet on my Nexus 5. It's just like, now it's getting popular just because Apple's doing it.
Well, and there's also a big difference. Yes, that is a big part of it. And I think what's kind of nice about this is that these systems don't preclude the Android-based systems, which is great. But there's a huge difference in the implementation side, where, see, Google is the actual payment processor. They are doing the transaction and all of that. They are doing that processing. Where in Apple Pay, Apple is just getting a token from the credit card company, and the credit card company is still the one doing the transaction. And so Apple's profit comes from the transaction payout that Visa or MasterCard pays, whereas Google's profit comes from the profiting of processing of the transaction. Now, the difference is that Google implicitly gets a lot more data when they're the payment processor, right? Because what Apple's getting is an authorization token from Visa or MasterCard.
That expires
and
after
so
use, right?
There is, implementation-wise, as users, right, it's a one-time token. Implementation-wise, it's same to end users. Like, you don't know any of that's happening on the back end. But back-end-wise, Apple's system doesn't upset the Apple Cart, right? It doesn't take that away from, it doesn't take that profit center away from the established banks and credit card manufacturers. So they're going to be more on board with Apple's solution, because in Apple's solution, you literally take a picture of your credit card and it gets saved into your phone, and then you use that credit card. And Apple's just using a token to make that transaction happen. In Google's system, there's no more credit card. Google is the credit card. Google Wallet is doing the transaction. So that is much more disruptive to the credit card and to the bank industry, right? Because Google's going to do that on a scale that's going to totally decimate their revenues. That's what they fear. So what Apple is doing is going to get more broader support from the established industry, because it's not going to screw with them. It's just going to make them more money. It's going to get people using their credit cards more instead of using cash. So Apple system is going to make the credit card companies more money, whereas Google systems cost them money, so they're not going to be behind it as much. So Apple system is more likely to get industry support, I think. I'm not sure which one's better, to be honest, for consumers. I don't know. But I can just tell you, Apple's is less disruptive to established industry, and that's usually the one that succeeds.
You know, a couple years ago, I went to a Jack in the Box, and I tried to hand them my card, and they're like, no, just swipe it here. And I was like, no?
Yeah.
Or something like that. And now I understand that was, I don't know what it was, actually, but I guess it was the start of this type of payment system. So.
Yeah, the NFC style payments. Devin, I wanted to give you a chance to raise a point.
I'm actually not sure, like, if Google doesn't have any kind of deal with them, because to pull this off just to start with and have the ability actually in the legal parts as well, it usually kind of goes with having to set up shop in their business. And at that point, they usually need approval from the others, because they do not need to go around the same laws and same regulations and same burden sharing that these companies have, the banks have, pretty much. So I'm not sure Google doesn't have a deal in the back that actually goes and still supports the other's platform.
Oh, I'm sure there's still some, when you're, because, they're their customers, I'm sure there must be something there. But I think, just looking at, I was watching a talk that Anderson Horowitz was giving, and he said the most innovative thing about Apple Pay is that it doesn't knock any of the incumbents out of the game. And, that is, and says that is why there has been end user desire for Google Wallet, but there has not been industry drive for it, because they for whatever reason have decided they don't want to get on board. I feel like this is actually, in some ways, I almost prefer having my credit card company still be the one that is essentially managing my transactions. So if I need to dispute something, I prefer to go to my bank instead of Google, right? So I don't know how that works. One of the things I'd like to try to do is, maybe now that more of these are out, because I've got a Nexus 5 and it's got NFC in it, maybe I could try both systems for a little while.
Yeah.
Got to get my hands on an iPhone 6, though. But I could at least try the Nexus 5 one for a little while and see how it works.
Discal says, wait till they unveil their super secure transaction service in a year or two.
Yeah,
Like,
sure, of course.
And that's not, I mean, yeah, maybe they're just inching their way in, seeing if it is an avenue they want to pursue,
Well,
and then we'll, do exactly what Google's
I guess
doing.
the reason why I wanted to mention the story is in the show is because I feel like this is kind of a big story. I mean, Apple Pay rolled out yesterday, and it didn't blow up. The quote-unquote iCloud didn't come crashing down, and it seems to be getting pretty good reviews. And it has made me kind of rethink about mobile payments, and I'm all for it now. I'm before where I wasn't willing to try that on my Nexus 5. Now I'm ready to give it a go because I'm starting to think there's more benefits here.
You know what I like?
What?
That they can listen to you too while they pay for stuff.
Oh, but hi-oh, hey-oh. All right.
Nice.
So while we're talking, go ahead.
One thing I want to compare this to is that I want to see someone report on this for a month solid, like Cash Hale did on Bitcoin, and see how it pans out.
Yeah, right. I know. All these things should be integrating Bitcoin. Why not be able to fund these things with Bitcoin?
Ooh.
Right? That'd be great.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
something I've seen.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Just something I've seen from some of my more security-minded friends is they like the idea of it being those one-time transactions opposed to. Whereas, the NFC is just pretty much your card being beamed into it, and that seems a little less secure. But I don't like Apple holding all this stuff. But at the same time, I don't really care for Google holding all this stuff either. So it's kind of not really a win-win anywhere.
Yeah, and of course, in the case of the, I'm not positive. I think in the case of the Apple Pay, it's stored on the phone, right? It's not like, so if you lose that phone and you wipe it, you have to re-import all your cards again on a new phone. Like, it doesn't resync from iCloud or something.
I wonder what the process for expired expiration dates, expired cards.
Well, it must know. If you put it in there, it must know. It must be like maybe you get like a warning your card's about to expire.
Yeah. Well, but and do you have to get a new physical card just to scan it in?
See, we got to play with these systems. This is something we
Yeah.
got to play with. Yeah, I do like the token system as well because then you have, of course, if you're using a loyalty card or something like that, then it doesn't matter if you're using a secure token or beaming all your credit card information. They got everything about you. But assuming you're not using a loyalty card or there's some other tracking system in the store, it's a much more, I don't know about anonymous.
Well, one thing about that Google
they don't get all your
is that
info.
It uses a different card number every time it does
Yeah.
that.
Now, but I thought that was going away.
I don't think so. I think because of all the security issues that have come about.
So that's an interesting approach too. I think it's going to be interesting to play with all of these. I think that's going to be a neat thing to do, and why not? Because if I can buy chicken nuggets, I'll give it a go. All right. So while we're talking about your privacy, your security, and Apple, I want to cover this story, which is getting some traction today. That Spotlight is sending your query suggestions or type, like what you're looking for, off to Apple servers. Now, when Canonical announced this in Ubuntu, this was a major controversy. And so here's what we know. Following with the release of OS X Yosemite, the new Spotlight suggestions, some users have caught that is sending some information back to Apple servers. Search terms are being shared with Apple, they say, in order to enable new capabilities, which include searching sources like the Mac Store, Wikipedia, and the web. So now in the new Spotlight in Yosemite, when you search, instead of just your files, it searches like Wikipedia and Bing and other crap like that, which I never want that. But here, look, so you haven't seen this. Here's a screenshot. So like you type in Yosemite, right, and it brings up, here's mails and emails that talk about Yosemite, here's events, and here's a Wikipedia entry about Yosemite. And it uses quick view so you can
Interesting.
You think?
Yeah.
Really?
It might be okay.
But why wouldn't you always have a web browser open. Why wouldn't you just open up a tab to go to Goog's?
First I have to open, for me.
You always have
Hold on. I have to open Safari. Then I have to decide whether or not the current tab that it opens up to is what I want. And if it's not, then I have to click the double window in the bottom right, and then I have to hit the plus, and then I have to wait for my bookmarks to come up. Then I have to click
But you always
the
have
Google
Firefox
bookmark.
open. You always have Firefox open, like 24/7.
I know. I'm telling you, that's a lot of steps. If all I have to do is swipe down and type what I'm looking for, what I'd Google, that saves me 4 different steps.
So here's what it's doing on the back end, right? It's sending off search terms, like off to Bing and things like that. Now, this is anytime because the other thing is you can use this as a launcher, right? So like a lot of people on Macs will type TER or something and it launches the terminal.
Okay.
You don't necessarily want all these things being sent off to Apple servers,
right?
Right?
Yeah.
So people don't like this. After starting to get some controversy, Apple released a statement to iMore saying that the company is, quote, absolutely committed to protecting user privacy. Here's what they had to say. We're absolutely committed to protecting our users' privacy and have built privacy right into our products. That's good. I like that. For Spotlight search suggestions, we minimize the amount of information sent to Apple. Apple does not retain the IP address from users' devices. Spotlight blurs the location on the device, so it never sends an exact location to Apple. Yeah. And Spotlight doesn't use a persistent identifier, so a user's search history can't be created by Apple or anyone else. Apple devices only use a temporary and anonymous ID for a 15-minute period, and then the ID is discarded. Now, that last part there is actually kind of interesting. They say, in terms of the Bing stuff, we worked closely with Microsoft to protect users' privacy. Apple forwards only commonly searched terms and only city-level location information to Bing. Microsoft does not store search queries or receive the user's IP address. You can opt out of Spotlight suggestions for Bing or location services in the Spotlight preferences.
Oh, well, easy then. But by default, it's on.
Yes, it is on. And by default, it's without really any kind of, like, I guess it's, if you read the EULA, I guess it says in the EULA that it's doing this. Why?
Is it coincidental that EULA sounds like eulogy?
Would any of us be surprised now when Windows 10 ships with something like this?
Yeah.
Well, Canonical started it with Unity, so...
Canonical kind of called it on convergence and on online search results. Now, I don't necessarily know if they've got it right in either case, but they called it. And, one thing I might note is this is not filled with Amazon search results of dildos. So,
well, neither is it anymore, because back in March they got rid of that.
Right, because you have to have 8.1, right? So I'm okay.
No. I hate that we are now living in a time where it is just assumed that your base computer operating system is just going to send information off to these OS manufacturers.
Yeah.
Does it bother you?
No, smelling bacon but not eating it bothers me.
Yeah. Okay.
It smells so great in here.
All right. Well, we just have a couple of more stories, and so if you're interested in this, we'll have a link in the show notes, and if you don't like it, go turn it off in system preferences.
I think I will turn it off.
I think I will too. Yeah. I mean, just on the editing.
I already turned off like a lot. I don't want it. I don't want it searching a bunch of things on my phone. Just a couple. Things.
Just in my quick, hey, should we load it on our editing computers? Is Final Cut going to have any problems? Just in my testing, Final Cut ran significantly slower under Yosemite. Significantly. Like from this is a fantastic Final Cut editing machine to I cannot work on this machine.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's not good.
No. So good thing, so I don't think Rekai's updated the main editing because that was just a test computer. So, okay. All right. So let's move right along, ladies and gentlemen. Before we do that, though, I would like to take a moment. We are in the final moments, Ange.
Yep.
We're at 386 patrons. We're trying to get to 400 before we take off to Ohio Linux Fest. If you would like to help us get there, patreon.com/today. We're working
14 people. We need 14 people.
We have a couple of things we're working on, and we have something we want to do that we want to tell you about, and we will integrate these in as actual official milestones. But for right now, our soft milestone is we're trying to get to 400, maybe by the end of the month. Should we just say that? End of the month? No, it'd be awesome to get there by the end of this week. Yeah. Patreon.com/today. The funds we raise here are going to help us make this network better and better. They do every single day. All of the funds raised here get reinvested back into all of the shows. Tech Talk Today, and the reason why this is on the Patreon.com/today page, Tech Talk Today is my way of saying thank you to all of you, trying to give you some value in return for donating to our network.
Not some value, additional value.
Right. And in addition to keeping us on the air, helping us stay independent, helping us invest in new shows, I'm trying to just as another way to say thank you. We create this show. And there's a community forming around it too, which is really awesome.
Yeah.
Patreon.com/today.
A whole Mumble community. Holla.
Holla. All right,
look
Andrews.
At all of us. We're legit.
Totally legit. So this one's out there for all my single brothers and sisters who would like a little more action in their life. Anybody in the Mumble Room heard of Tinder?
Yes.
I've heard of it.
Okay, Ange, have you heard of it?
I don't think so.
I just told you about it like 2 days ago.
Well, I wasn't sure if I should say yes since that was such a...
Oh, yeah. Oh,
yes,
okay.
I remember we had a conversation about it.
All right, so So Tinder is like, it's like one part hot or not. Like you get a list of folks after you answer. I don't actually know. I think you connect it to your Facebook profile, and then it figures out what you like based on what Facebook pages you've liked. Then it matches you up with other people that have liked similar things that are in your location, and then you swipe through them, thumbing them up or saying no thanks. And then if you thumb them up, you can set up for a hookup or just a time to hang out or something like that. The problem with Tinder is that it is blowing up big time because people will use it. They'll go to a new city, they'll fire up Tinder, see who's around them, and then meet up for an evening or something like that. It's going crazy. It's going nuts.
Well,
but they don't make
a good idea.
Yeah.
For that matter, or for that purpose. But you know, who keeps their Facebook profile up to date like that?
Well, some people. You?
No.
I try.
You don't go out and you don't unlike.
In fact,
things
I went and unliked Mountain Dew and a couple other things, and because it's and like movies, like the list of movies.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that.
Like so many of these apps or web services, I think this is just an app. I don't think they have a web component. They don't have a revenue model. They're not making any money. Even though they have a ton of users. Get ready for this.
They probably have ads.
No, they don't.
Oh.
They make more than 15 million matches in a day. And they have 1.2 billion Tinder profiles swiped through in a day. 1.2 billion.
Wow.
They're growing like crazy. He said they won't give specific numbers. But they plan to roll out a Tinder Pro service in the future, a premium service in early November next month that'll make it even easier to match with people. So if you're a Tinder user and you're interested in that, I have a link in the show notes. One last story before we run, Ange. And this one I'm kind of curious to see what you think. Spotify. Mm-hmm. I know you haven't dipped in, even though you're a music fanatic.
Oh, I was an early adopter, actually. Way before you.
Wow. You don't know when I adopted, girl. I've been on years.
No, I know.
Okay.
I set up a profile years ago. I got an invite, and I set one up, and I didn't like it.
Oh, okay.
Like, literally, when my desk was still in my office.
Yeah.
And on the left.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anybody in the Mumble Room a Spotify fan? Going once?
I can't say I have.
I like it because they have a good mobile client, and you can cache the files, and they also have a Linux client, which is really nice. So Spotify is offering a family plan, which is effectively a price cut on its subscription service. Family members get a 50% discount on additional accounts. So, like, I have a premium Spotify account. You could now get a Spotify account for $5 and have access to all music, unlimited streaming. You get Pandora-like features. You can skip around. You can pick the specific song. You can also cache and download them so you have them locally so you don't have to stream them.
Yeah, that seemed to have worked out really well the other day.
I didn't actually have it turned on. I thought I did.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I just don't like the idea of streaming music.
No, but you can download them to the phone.
I know you just said that. We just had a conversation about that. I know. I like my iTunes.
Well, okay, let me run this math by you and see what you think. So Apple is pushing the music labels, and I think this is one of the reasons Spotify got their prices down. Apple is pushing the music industry because they want to take Beats music subscriptions down to $5. And here's Apple's logic. Now think about this when you say you don't like streaming, you don't like paying, right? Think about this. Apple's argument to the music executives is that on average, the top-tier iTunes users, like the average top tier, spend $60 a year on downloaded music.
I easily spend that much. Yes.
Around $5 a month.
Yep.
So if subscription services drop to $5 a month, a lot of download buyers would just switch over to the streaming model because it saves them a lot of money.
No, it doesn't. Because when you go over your data plan on your phone, that's $15 for 1 more megabyte.
Yeah.
And no. No.
So anybody want to make the counter argument, Mumble Room? No.
Well, I guess I'm not sure if their client, like on the desktop, is not able to automatically pass for your client on the phone, which should immensely reduce your stream. I guess.
And you just pull down the ones you want while you're on Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Why not just have a stagnant library?
I guess.
I
guess. Yeah. I mean, I'm just trying to play devil's advocate because
I have every song I own on my phone.
If my music library was in good shape, I would feel that way too. But
there is
go ahead.
Good argument, I guess, which is you can actually try new music which you didn't necessarily watch.
Yes, very much.
Yes, that's true, and that's what I use Pandora for, but only on the TV. while dancing with the kids.
I see my music library is in horrible shape, so streaming is just a lot easier for me.
It's because of the music that you like.
No, it's because I move around computers too much. That's what it is.
Yeah.
All right, so there we go. That's all I got for you today, but we'll be back. Andrew will be here tomorrow too.
Yep, I'll be here tomorrow.
It'll be a full crew tomorrow on the show. We'll go through everything. And maybe we'll do a Kickstarter of the week tomorrow.
Oh yeah, we should. We totally should.
I know. We need to do that.
If you have suggestions, email me, Angela at jupiterbroadcasting.com or Tweeter.
What is your Tweeter, Andrews?
It's at Angers, Angerz.
Hey, that's a really clever Tweeter.
No.
Oh.
I wish I would have done something.
You can actually rename it and not lose your followers.
Oh, nah.
You could do it. Like you might.
It wouldn't be a new URL, would it?
Yeah, it would.
Wow, really?
Yeah. And you might be able to do like Angela Fisher or something.
Nah, I doubt it.
I've thought about changing mine because when I did Chris LAS,
right?
I only had the Linux Action Show.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now it's kind of like everybody knows it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of what I go by.
Yep.
Anyways, so you can tweet either one of us if you have a Kickstarter of the week, and or just tweet at Angela though. Also, techtalktoday.reddit.com is another place you could stash those.
Yep.
Vote things up or down. Let us know what you want to hear about. And we're going to leave today with an old-time radio commercial that none of us have heard because it was probably recorded before most of us were alive. And we're just going to play it, see how it goes. And we'll be back tomorrow. And if this goes horribly, this will be the last old-time radio commercial we do. But how could it? They're gonna be great.
Hopefully it won't.
See you tomorrow, everybody.
Budweiser commercial featuring the Crew Cut. Where there's life, there's fun. At a concert or a show, in your own backyard, wherever you go. Budweiser beer is for folks who know where there's life, there's fun.